Buenos dias, good morning guys. Welcome to Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada. It is our 5th and final day here in the Rocky Mountains, so it's going to be our last little adventure here, sadly. But this morning we were blessed. We were able to see a grizzly bear. We think it was a grizzly bear. It could have been a brown bear, but I'm pretty positive it was a grizzly bear.
It was bigger than the other ones we've seen. It was such a good surprise.
Yeah, it was right on the side of the road, foraging in the grass, obviously for like dandelions again or something. I don't know exactly, maybe bugs even, but it was such a cool thing to see and a great way for us to start our final adventure, as we will be driving all the way back to my family's home today, so it's going to be a long day of driving. So we're going to share with you guys some of the adventures, but first and foremost we're going to start here with probably one of the most famous places here in Canada. We're going to start by exploring Lake Louise.
Let's go.
If you liked Peyto Lake, I think you're going to like Lake Louise.
I can't wait to see it.
Also, a little piece of advice, even though we are here in June, it is freezing cold. Bring warm clothes.
All these days has been so warm, and today it's like not that windy, but like
it's cold.
Cold, like chilly.
Well, the weather is not quite what we were hoping for today, but nonetheless, welcome to Lake Louise.
We're gonna do a little hike, show like a better view and to appreciate it as well.
There's a little trail that you can go to somewhere up here. There's a little viewpoint. And then afterwards, we're gonna follow all along this side here, which has another trail. Both are actually pretty easy to do. I've never done this one, but I've heard it's pretty easy, so we're gonna check it out now. You can also rent canoes here, but we debated about it since not doing it in Emerald Lake, but it's a little cold for us today. We're babies.
Like, I imagine like holding the paddle, but I bet in a sunny day it must be so cool. Like,
100%.
Next time we come, if it's sunny, we do it.
One thing I can tell you I'm not doing today is sticking my feet in this water, that's for sure. It's too cold today.
It's too cold.
The place that we were walking to now is called Fairview Lookout. It's only 1.8 kilometers from like the entrance of the lake, basically. I just want to make a point. Earlier today, we were unsure if we were even going to be able to come to Lake Louise because of things that we read online about how busy it gets and the parking lot's full. When we got here, we realized it's not that busy. So 2 pieces of advice: come on a weekday. We're here on a Monday. I think on weekdays is probably a little bit better. Second piece of advice: come early. Early in the morning is better because I think a lot of people are still sleeping. This is a place where there's lots of bears, so maybe people are hibernating like the bears. That was a terrible joke. Sometimes the most famous places are the most famous places for a reason, and I mean, come on.
Look at that.
That is incredible.
Maybe one day with a little like snacks and a sunny day, it must be so cool to do that kind of
They look really cool from up here, but sometimes I don't know, like I feel like the best thing to do is to get above a place, to get those views. You guys know in all of my videos, I'm always searching for the best views. So as much as I think a canoe ride would be super fun and it would be super beautiful, the hike is free. The canoe is probably $100 for an hour.
Yeah, it's probably $100, yeah.
Third piece of advice, with all due respect to the trails, and please respect the trails when you are hiking, go a little bit further than the main viewpoint, because sometimes you find a little bit extra. You know, we're surrounded by the trees and get a little bit of a different perspective here of the water as well. I would love to do some like more challenging hikes and get further up into the mountains, so someday in the future for sure.
More prepared.
Yeah, we've been saying it a lot, but definitely we're already like deciding that we need to come back again, which makes me happy because I love this place. It's far from home, but not so far from home at the same time. So
yeah, no, it's really beautiful. this is definitely a place that you can never get tired of just admire. The mountains, when the sun hits the water or the mountains, the snow. One of my favorite spots until now.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear. Well, we are going to say our final goodbyes to Lake Louise now. We're actually not going to go do the other trail, which goes along on that other side there. I've done it before, and you can see the colors of the lake, but not quite like this. This is the best place to come.
Also, we don't have that much time today.
No.
So I think we're happy with this.
We're going to go try and check out another place to see if it's possible for us to do right now, and if it won't take too much time. So we're going to go see right now if we can go do that. So as we kind of expected, unfortunately, we cannot go to the next place, which is a place called Moraine Lake. I've never been, but I'm pretty sure it's the most beautiful lake here in Canada.
Yeah.
So sadly...
Did you say the same about Louise Lake?
No, I said that's the most famous.
Ah, okay.
But they're both very beautiful. I mean, I've never seen Moraine Lake, so it is very difficult to go these days because they've closed the road that goes to Moraine Lake because it's too busy these days. So you have to do this thing called Park and Shuttle or something. I can't remember the name, but you park for free. You pay $8 and the shuttle bus will take you to Lake Louise and to Moraine Lake. It gets booked up fast, so you have to book like 3 days in advance and as early as possible. The guy that we asked did also mention to us that you can take a bicycle. So if you have a bicycle, you can park for free and take your bike to Moraine Lake. It's pretty far, I think, but he said it's pretty easy as well. Today, we're not going to get the chance to go to Moraine Lake, so we're going to start making our way towards home, basically. But we have a few more places that we're going to stop at. One spot where we might see some more animals. So let's see. Alright guys, so since Moraine Lake was a bust, we decided to go on a little bit of a detour as we head back to the highway that we will take, which I'll explain a little bit later where we're going. We are heading down the Bow Valley Parkway again. So if you watched a previous video, I mentioned about how the Bow Valley Parkway is closed between Johnston Canyon and some other place, I don't remember where. There is a section that is still open between March 1st and June 25th, which is between Castle Junction or Johnston Canyon and Lake Louise, which is where we're going to drive right now. And there might be a special place I'm trying to take Stacy to as well. So our first stop on the Bow Valley Parkway is a place called Morant's Curve. This place is going to require a little bit of patience. So
Why?
Do you feel patient?
I'm always patient.
Okay. Can you guess why we're here? So we were just driving here a second ago and the train came by.
Oh really?
Yeah, the train was just coming by and I was just like thinking in my head, we literally just missed it come out.
Oh no, I didn't.
So it's going to require some patience. Do you want to wait for a train to come? It's worth it. This is a very famous place, by the way, to come here and watch the trains come through here with the view of the mountains and the river here as well. No train yet, but we do have a maintenance vehicle coming.
Something.
So we've been waiting now for about, what, 20, 30 minutes or so? Something like that. We just overheard, someone was saying on the radio here behind us, there are some trains coming, but one of them is dealing with a little bit of like a set-off. I don't know what that means exactly.
Where they switch like the rails?
The rails, yeah.
There is like a bear, so the
Yeah.
person is not being able to do it.
I don't know if they're waiting because of that, but I guess there's a grizzly bear wherever the train switches.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
interesting.
more bear life here in the Rocky Mountains. Sad news.
I think all we got was the maintenance truck.
The maintenance truck or train or whatever you want to call it. The trains aren't going to be coming for about an hour, so unfortunately an hour is a little bit too long for us to wait. We've already waited over 30 minutes, which is probably already too long for us to wait because we've got a long walk, but the track itself is super beautiful though, so I'm glad that you at least got to see the view and another reason to come back. So we just stopped to do a little photo shoot for Stacy's mother-in-law. Pura vida, I miss you, Costa Rica. And the train came by.
I cannot believe it.
Of course.
We drive already a little bit, and this is quite slow. It's not like a very fast train. So
it's still 20 or 30 minutes away from Morant's Curve. So we didn't miss anything by waiting.
But here it is.
And this is also a good spot right here as well because right behind me you can see, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is Castle Mountain, which is this is a nice little spot here to stop as well. So we stopped very quickly specifically here just to do this photo shoot. So quick stop here at a place called Storm Mountain Lookout, I think it's called. Look at this view. A little bit similar to Morant's Curve, but without the train tracks.
Well,
the tracks are right below us, but not so much in the view, at least. This is our last stop here in the Bow Valley Parkway, as well as in Banff National Park, as in about 2 minutes we're going to be heading onto a new highway. We're going to be taking Highway 1A, I believe it's called, taking that south through a new park called Kootenays National Park. I think it's national or provincial, I can't remember. But we're going through the Kootenays now as well. Still a little bit of the Rocky Mountains for a little bit, but soon the landscape is going to change. We've got a long drive ahead of us, similar to our first adventure video that we did coming all the way here. We're doing a different route this time, so it should be good. The next stop that we chose for today is a little bit of a nerdy one. If you like geography, this is kind of cool. But we stopped at a place here called the Continental Divide. I don't know a lot about the scientific stuff, but I know that this is something to do with tectonic plates, I think, and the difference between what goes eastward towards the Atlantic Ocean and what goes westward towards the Pacific Ocean. If I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comments. It's also the divide between Banff National Park and Kootenays National Park, which we are heading into. Also, the divide between British Columbia and over here, Alberta. So now Stacy is in a different province than I am.
well, it's just the middle of my body.
As I said, this is a geography nerd's place, so this stop was more for me than anything. So I know most of our most recent videos have all been just us driving and stopping in different places, but it just goes to show how many different places you can actually stop, because this is one that we haven't even planned and we just kind of saw it on the side of the road. And honestly, we're not even doing close to half of all the stops. Like there are so many more.
I mean, that's the thing here.
All that being said, we just came to stop at this place here called Numa Falls, which of course you have mountain views, really blue river. This is just incredible. I mean, even for me, I don't know how many times we've stopped. I never get sick of all the stops. Like we could stop all day and I'd be happy. In fact, it's about 1 o'clock. We're gaining an hour when we go back, so it's not a problem. It's actually 12 o'clock for us. It's still like 8 hours away, but we're still stopping all the time. We just can't help ourselves. It's super beautiful. Falls are so powerful.
It's so impressive. I think it's also one of my favorite spots.
Really?
Yeah, it's very cool. Like, look, this little bridge is so magical. Like, it's here over the waterfall, and then on the other side, like, the river. These rocks, like the shape is super crazy. Like
this was a pleasant surprise for me. I would say that. So we've come to another little stop on our journey today. We've come to a viewpoint of the Kootenay Valley. And I just want to mention like how cool it is that the landscape changes so much. Like we're still kind of in the Rockies, of course, but like the mountains are getting smaller. The trees are changing a little bit. The valleys look different. The rivers are different. It's really crazy.
It's weird. So it's a weird sensation. It's cool to get to know new places. But then after spending like a few days in a row in the mountains, it's gonna be like a little bit of like, okay, bye. See you next time.
Well, it's not the end of the mountains totally for Stacy's time here in Canada, but it is the end of the Rocky Mountains pretty soon. We'll be back.
We'll be back, for sure.
So similar to Saskatchewan Crossing where we saw the other day, this is kind of a place here where a lot of animals will migrate through and connect to different places. As you can see, like cougars, bears, wolves, moose, and all kinds of different animals use this valley here. It's pretty crazy to think that from the valley way down there, from where we just came from, going all the way over there are probably thousands of different types of animals. Hundreds of bears, I assume.
Animals that live in these mountains are like such a magical creatures, you know. It's like Birds are very nice. Like in my country, we're surrounded by monkeys and birds, and there are deers, but it's not something very common to see, for example.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky here in Canada for the wildlife we have, but so are you in Costa Rica. I mean, it's just different, but you have an abundance of wildlife there as well. So we're both from pretty natural countries in that sense. It's not exactly the wildlife that we were looking for, but you guys can see some caterpillars here, and like all of that is a nest. It's made of silk, I guess. Do you have any idea how that stuff works?
They create that structures for maybe become a butterfly or something like that.
Well, that was kind of the last of the planned stops that we had on this journey down, so the rest are just going to kind of be random stops that we see. We're still in bear country, so it's always possible. I'm always keeping my fingers crossed for bears. In general, let's just enjoy the rest of the drive and enjoy the views along the way.
So because we have such a long drive, yesterday we stopped for a little like snacks, and I'm gonna try a classic Canadian thing.
Wild sockeye smoked salmon nuggets. Basically a smoked salmon. You're trying smoked salmon.
It sounds delicious. Let's try it.
Yeah? I told you. It's like a hint of sweet, a hint of smoky. Smoked salmon is one of my favorites. Well, it wouldn't be British Columbia without a little bit of rain, but we found another place to stop, which I wasn't actually planning to stop at. I knew it was here, but I don't really know what is here. We're in a town called Radium Hot Springs. We're not actually going to check out the hot springs. Unfortunately, neither of us brought our swimsuits, and I don't really feel like going in there in my underwear. But we did see a pretty cool sight. A viewpoint, of course, as always, views. Also, you kind of come through this little cliff that is really, really incredible. So let's go check that out right now. As we just mentioned about the changing landscapes, look at the rock formations here. Look at that, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like a little miniature Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and all the rocks are like so many colorful layers, and it's so cool to see it like that close.
I do think that there's actually something right behind us that talks about that, and I think it mentions about how you can tell the different like eras of rock as well, like the time periods. So, and there's also a little river coming through right here, which I guess is what also forms this rock formation, which is really cool.
Well, to be honest, it's very nice to be here in this little cave right now because it's raining. Just here, it's a natural like roof, pretty much.
Yeah, natural umbrella for us.
Yeah. Pato al agua.
All right, back to the truck we go. And we've stopped at our next rest stop, and as you can see, the weather gets warmer the further away from the mountains you get, so now is summer. This place that we're coming to check out now is a place called Columbia Lake. Forgive me for not knowing this. I'm gonna make a guess, because yesterday we went to the Athabasca Glacier, and we saw the Columbia ice fields. So I wonder if this lake has something to do with the Columbia ice fields, as well as the Columbia River that flows through here as well. Let us know down in the comments if you know, because I really don't. But this lake is very beautiful. I've never actually stopped at this lake viewpoint either, so I think you're gonna enjoy this one. I think I will too.
This is so huge. Oh my god, every lake here is like no. I'm tired. I'm tired of this overstimulation, you know?
So I just met a nice couple here that taught me something about the lake. They're from the United States, from close to Oregon. They were saying that this lake here, it feeds into the Columbia River, like I mentioned before, and it goes all the way to the Pacific Ocean in Astoria, Oregon, which doesn't mean anything to Stacy. And for those who are watching, if you want to go on Google Maps and see how far this goes, it's very, very far away from where we are right now. As for the ice fields part, I don't know for a fact if this comes from the ice fields, but I do remember reading that they were saying that this ice field was massive and it went all the way into the prairies, etc. back in the day. Like 10,000 years ago, it was a huge ice field, if you guys watched our video from before. So I wouldn't be surprised that's where it does get its name from, or maybe it just comes from whoever named the province British Columbia, Christopher Columbus, I guess. But in general, this lake must be fed by the mountains or something. So it's coming from glaciers, I'm sure, because the color of it, it's hard to see on video and from up here. It's very blue and very green, and it has a lot of those same colors that we saw at Emerald Lake and Peyto Lake Lake as well as Lake Louise.
Also, there are some like mountains that has snow still, so maybe it comes from there too.
Stacy's making a little friend there at the end.
That's such a cute doggy.
Yeah, she's so cute.
Tommy.
I miss Lucas.
I miss Lucas.
What a contrast though from earlier today. Like where we were earlier today, it was cold. In Lake Louise, like snowy mountain, and now we're here.
Feels so nice. I want to like, you know, like have a bikini only now.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like going in the water. This is like a totally, it almost feels like a new video and a new like a new experience for us.
Oh my God, it is.
We've been saying this way too much, but we need to come back to Columbia Lake as well. Wow.
To be honest, this feels so nice, and I cannot imagine like 24/7 at the top of those mountains, like living there. It must be like also a little bit hard, you know, like because it's always cold.
Now you kind of get the idea of what it feels like to be a Canadian, except we deal with 6 months of winter and cold weather, and then we get this, and heaven.
Yeah, it's true, baby. That's why you guys go to places like my country.
Costa Rica. That's why we're going to Costa Rica.
Because it's warm, even if it's rainy or if it's like dark, it's still always warm. It's tough being Canadian, eh?
Well guys, hours later, we have finally made it to our final stop before we go home. We're back at another lake, of course, a very familiar one if you've watched previous videos. We are here in Christina Lake. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of driving. We've been going for 5 straight days. If you've watched the entire series, we really appreciate you. We hope that you guys have enjoyed the series. It's been a lot of fun to make and exhausting to make as well, but just so much fun to adventure all the places that we've been. But we're gonna finally end the video here and the series. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll link our Instagrams down below, and we'll see you guys next time.